right. Hello, everybody. This is Tom Randall from GoldenCare, and I want to welcome you to this Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative webinar today that we're doing. And today, I usually am joined by my partner and friend in crime here, Dennis Reiner. And Dennis is traveling. He was out at the convention, and I think he's in the air now as we speak. So he may be able to jump on at the end, but I don't know if that'll happen. And that's not a big deal because today, it's my pleasure to go through and show you a little bit about the OmniFlex, how to do the quoting and the online system that they have, and show you just how easy it is, how intuitive it is, and how much it's going to be a pleasure for you to go out and help your clients with this product, because it's very simple to do an eApp or a quotation with that. So I probably will say it just out of habit. I have this respiratory cough thing that I've been fighting for a while, and I'll be coughing in your ear a couple times, and I apologize. And my voice is more raspy than usual, so I apologize ahead of time about that. But again, it's my pleasure to talk to you guys today on the integrity side of it with the short-term care in general, because of the fact that we do a lot of product trainings and we do a lot of sales trainings, and the sales trainings are kind of fun. And today's a nice, easy one to show you how easy it is to use the eApp for OmniFlex, one of our products in our portfolio. And I'm going to show you today all the tools we have for you so you can feel comfortable. And again, if you've been on any of these webinars before, I see recognize some of the names on here. You know, the basic part I start all these webinars with just about is talking about the reason, the method or madness of why we're doing this. Not only for you folks who are in the Medicare realm or the life realm selling other products, and maybe you're not up to your necks in the trenches for long-term care or short-term care, it's still important to go out and help those Americans, right? So again, I'll make this real short, but 70% of the folks out there, once they turn age 65, are going to require some type of care. And with all those baby boomers coming around the corner, they're turning 65 and 70, 10,000 of them a day. We know there's a lot of folks that you're working with in the Medicare life realms that are going to have some real issues trying to protect themselves. 3 out of every 5 bankruptcies in America are from medical expenses, and those people, usually almost 80% of them, already have health insurance. So it's these extra costs that they don't expect, and that's what short-term care can do for them. And again, that 70% number is not an exaggeration, especially when you're working with short-term care, because of the fact that so many people get coverage for things like hip replacements, knee replacements, fractures, surgeries, and things like that with regular long-term care, if any of you are familiar, usually wouldn't cover those shorter term things, but these will, and they have restoration, so they'll still have a really powerful policy to be there to protect them if they need a longer care after that. So lots of good things. And again, I won't beat you to death with this, but I just wanted you to know that's why we're really pushing the different products that we have in this portfolio. Not only do we have the Manhattan Life OmniFlex that we're going to talk about today with the eApp, but we also have the other carriers, the Wellaby product that's newly out of the gate. That's in limited states right now, 10 states, but they're going to be adding more states, obviously, this next year. And then we have the GTL, the old standby that's been around longest, and they're in the most states, and we've got some really good protection from GTL as well. So lots of good options, and not only to mention the home healthcare products we have to back it up. So we have all the tools you need, and if we take you out to the site here, you're going to see on the Integrity Short-Term Care site everything you need to succeed, including our InstaPivot underwriting tool if you want. We've got lots of sales and marketing materials, lots of product materials on OmniFlex, Recover Cash, and Wellaby for our comprehensive short-term care plans, and our home health care only plans as well. The home health care only for Manhattan Life, the GTL home health care only, and then the True Freedom non-insurance plan that's in all 50 states. So we have products to cover you in every area. But today, again, because of the fact that we're working on trying to get this OmniFlex, I'm going to go right into that. We're not going to get into a lot of product trading, even though by nature it's going to be product training when I show you how to work the site. So I know there's a little delay when we do a webinar like this, but I'm going to go ahead and punch in. This is just my my contact manager here, and I just have to find Manhattan. It's usually right at the top here, and all of a sudden I'm spacing it. There it is. So Manhattan Life, when you click into there, that was just my password manager. Again, that's no big deal. Just it keeps track of my soft passwords. Well, I'm struggling. It's Friday. But once you log in, and you'll get a site when you do log in, and if you want to play around with rates before you actually get appointed with Manhattan Life, we have an Excel calculator on the site that you can see that can walk you through and do quotes if you wanted to ahead of time. This is something I used internally. So if you use Excel a lot, it's pretty nice. Some of the agents like it. You can go and peek right at the quote sheet, then it automatically fills it in. This is agent use only mainly, but it's just a nice way to see what you're selling people. But I have that available for you, and I'm not going to go through that as much today as I am on the website, because once you get logged in, this is usually the place agents go for everything they need to do with the OmniFlex plan, okay? And again, on our website over here at Integrity Short-Term Care, we've got all the product training and all the backup information and everything you might need to learn about Manhattan Life as well, including an agent guide that walks you through everything we're doing today, and all those different materials that'll help you along the way. But at the website itself, you can go up here, and if you have agents underneath, you can select different agents and look at it from their point of view. These are only for your sub agents, obviously, if you happen to have an agency. Then there's the dashboard, which we're looking at now pretty much. And then you can look at your monthly sales, commissions, in-force business, and different agent tools, etc., or download different PDF or digital files. So all that is over here. I'm not going to jump into that because of HIPAA reasons, obviously, but when I go over here, all I have to do a quote is launch Manhattan Direct 2.0. And when I do that, there's a little delay because we're on a webinar, but when I do that, it'll pop up in a second. Hopefully not too long. There we go. And hopefully I'll give you an extra second to see it. When you get to that site here, you're going to be able to go over here and see a home screen here. This shows a lot of your policies. I'm going to pop off of that fast because I don't want to have any HIPAA reasons to worry about. But you'll see there was the home screen with some of your digital things that are in the works. And then you go to the quote area, and this is where it's going to ask for a zip code. And this, again, even if you're not appointed in all the different states, it'll allow you to go any zip code that there's product available to check it out. So in this case, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put up, I'll put Arizona in there, maybe 85004, put a zip code, and you can see Phoenix, okay? So again, whatever zip code you put in there, it'll automatically find it. You just click next, okay? So when I get into this screen, now this is used for all their different products, and I'm going to explain that as I go through, but just to show you how easy this is. First thing they're going to ask for is date of birth. And in this case, I'm just going to keep it a little bit simple. I'll put 11/28/1961, and I'll put them down as a 61-year-old. It doesn't matter if it's male or female here. They're unisex rates for the OmniFlex plan. The effective date here, if I'm doing a married couple, sometimes people shove that out and say I'm going to put a future date in there, but you don't have to. It defaults down to today's date. And again, these policies get approved pretty quickly, but if somebody does have something on their medications list that delays it a little bit, sometimes the effective dates will be different, and people don't like to have the bank draft come out on a different day or whatever it might be. So don't worry too much about it, but if you want to be extra careful and tell your clients, I'll push this out 10 days or something, you can do that. And then when we get to the bank draft, if I do push it out, I like to try to match the day that I push it out to. So if I did 11/15, I would want to put the 15th. So I'm going to do that here just to try to remember the 15th. If I got in that habit of saying, I'll get this in place for you and it'll be available, hopefully if everything goes well, on the 15th will be your effective date. Don't worry about these dependents down here. This is for life products, etc. So even if I have my married person here, I don't need to put them here as a dependent. This is for if I have kids on a life policy or something else. So don't worry about that for the OmniFlex plan. Just go to view products. Okay, very simple so far. Again, it took a lot longer with me talking to you than it would with you and a client. Okay, because that was very quick. All you have to do is say, when's your birth date? I know what state you're in. Let's go to work. Okay. Now, from there, you can see they give all the different products that are available for Manhattan Life and Standard right on this plan. And it's really nice because it's easy to get multiple products if you wanted to do that. You can see here's our home health care only select plan. And the nice thing here is we named this product, when we helped them develop this, we named it OmniFlex, so it would pop out at you and you'd remember it for sure. That's the one you're looking for short-term care, okay, for comprehensive short-term care. And you can see here, starting at $745 a month. It's just showing you the absolute lowest rate you could possibly get for somebody that age. And they just throw that in there to show you how low you could go. Okay, don't worry about that. Once I click that OmniFlex plan, then it says the first thing it asks, remember there's 10% discounts for spouses if they both get a policy, right? One of the nice things about this plan. So the first thing it'll ask you about is a spouse, and it'll say to get a spousal discount, you must both have coverage already or both be applying. So I'm going to put yes in this case, and then it's just going to say who's the spouse we're talking about. And I'm going to put down Betty's first name. I'll put down Fakey as the last name. And just to keep it simple, I'll have her be 61-year-old as well. Okay. So all I put in is the date of birth and their first and last name, and I click add spouse. And now it brings me to this screen. And again, yours might be slower, so I'm going to wait. But you should see quick quote or full quote. So if I'm already going to know that I'm going to cement the sale, or I'm pretty sure I know the health of this person and all this other fun stuff, I can go in and do the full quote. That's how I would do my eApp. And that's what I would do for you guys today. Okay. I'm going to go through that really quickly. If I did a quick quote, what it does is it skips all the underwriting questions and it just goes right to designing a plan. So you can really quickly see how much it would cost regardless of their health. You just assume that they're healthy enough to get whatever coverage you put in there. Okay. A lot of agents like that if they're just getting an idea for how much they're going to have to charge somebody. So quick quote is a quick way to do it where you can go in there, boom, boom, boom. And I'll try to fill you in as I go through the full quote on that. Okay. So when I do the full quote, first thing it's going to do is a little bit different. Remember, this policy, along with the policy over at Wellaby, has a two-tiered underwriting system. So there's different questions you ask different folks to see how much coverage you can get in the plan. So I'm going to give you a couple little cheat sheets here, because the first thing they're going to do here is find out, am I going to be able to offer you, if you remember our product training, the full-blown OmniFlex plan, $400 per day for a facility potentially, $300 per day for home care? The first thing it's going to try to find out is, can I offer you that full-blown unlimited benefits or the full benefit plan? Or do you have some health conditions that we have to lower that to $100 maximum? Remember that second tier that we talk about? One of the beautiful things of this plan is that we can throw the net so much wider and still give comprehensive coverage to people who may not be healthy enough to get comprehensive coverage anywhere else. So it's a great part of this plan, but it does throw this one extra little curve as you're going into the application process, okay? So first thing it asks me when I go to the full quote is it says, in the last 24 months, have you used any tobacco? Now, this is a 10% premium load. Some of the carriers have 25%. This is a 10% premium load, but it doesn't disqualify you from getting a full-blown plan, okay? So this isn't one that says, if you answer yes here, you're going to not be able to get a full-blown plan. It just says, we want to know if we have to charge you for the tobacco, okay? Then it goes into these other questions here. And again, I'm not going to read them all to you and bore you, and I know you can't read it on your screen very well today. But basically, these are the second-tiered questions, and they're finding out, again, if you can get a full-blown plan or a limited plan. It's not a knockout. These aren't something that if you answer yes, you can't get coverage. These are to find out if you can get a full-blown plan or a short or a lesser-known plan. So one of the things we taught our agents, and we've had some success at, is that if you're working on the phone with somebody, sharing your screen, sometimes people get confused where they go through that first questions and then they feel like, well, now I don't know for sure. I thought I got through the underwriting, and then I found out later that I didn't qualify for any coverage because they'll do the knockout questions later on. So what I've taught some of my agents to do, especially ones who don't share a screen or ones even who do share a screen, is that they can cheat and just open up the application, scroll down till you get to the health questions. And again, this is going to be a little bit small on your screen. I'll make it a little bigger. And I'm not going to read all these to you, but this first questions here are not the questions you just saw in the eApp. These first questions here are knockout questions. These are actually ones to find out, if you answer yes to these, I can't even offer you any coverage. But on their website, they don't ask these first. They go down and ask these secondary questions first to find out if you can get a full-blown plan. See here where it says health questions part 2. If you answer yes to any of these questions, then we have to limit you to $100 per day on the home health care, the base, and the hospital indemnity rider. So basically, this isn't a knockout. It just shows you that it's limited. So this is a long-winded way for me to explain to you as agents. You wouldn't go through this with your clients. All you do is when you're talking to your clients, you'd say, hey, Jim and Betty, You buy these policies. We already talked about the need for them, and you do buy them more with your checkbook or with your health in your checkbook nowadays. So I want to make sure, first of all, that we have a great plan in place, and I have several different options for you, as a matter of fact. But a lot of it's going to be relying on your health. So if you don't mind, can I quickly ask you some really broad health questions and find out and make sure we can get you coverage? Okay, number one, and again, you as agents, look at how broad these are, right? First of all, the old AIDS and HIV. So most people don't have to deal with these nowadays. So you're probably safe there for the vast majority of your clients. Okay. These again are knockout questions. I'm not filling out the app when I'm talking to you, whether I'm sitting with you live or whether I'm sitting with you over the internet or sharing my screen or over the phone. All I'm doing is finding out. I'll know if you say yes, I can't offer you this policy no matter what, right? We have our InstaPivot tool if you want to really get detailed and go into that InstaPivot tool and find out ahead of time using that tool, which we won't get into today. That's great. But if you want to keep it simple, this is an easy way for you to do it because you're going to see here, most people can get through this really easily. First one, AIDS. Second one, are you currently on Medicare due to disability prior to 65 or on Medicaid, or are you disabled? Most people obviously aren't going to have that problem. Next one, are you currently receiving assistance with activities of daily living? And again, I'm not reading this verbatim to you, but you would probably to your client or let them see it and talk them through it. This is really fast, right? You're not getting any home care right now, or you're not living in a nursing facility. It looks like you're at home, right? Okay. Do you have any of these other pretty major conditions like Alzheimer's by chance or Parkinson's stage 4 or 5? Notice not even stage 1, 2, or 3. Huntington's disease or a cognitive impairment. Obviously, again, most people won't have that. Are you receiving treatment by a medical professional for diabetic complications that result in some of these conditions? Again, most people won't have those problems. They might be diabetic, but they won't have complications. Then receiving treatment by medical for insulin-dependent diabetes in conjunction with heart failure. Again, it's both of those. So pretty broad questions. You're not going to knock out too many people here. That's why we love this policy. And then it finally says a couple catch-alls to save the company. In the past 12 months, you've been advised to have test, treatment, or surgery that you haven't done yet. So in other words, it's people who are looking for insurance because they know they're knocking on the door. We got to make sure we protect the carriers from that. And then the final knockout question, the final knockout question is, within the last 2 years, have you had some of these cancer treatments besides skin cancer? So there will be some cancer people that you're going to have to say one of our other carriers will work better if you had cancer in the last couple of months, because if they answer yes to these, then we can't go forward. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show you that is that's an easy way to talk people through, and it's just conversational. And then you'll find out that most people you talk to are fine, and you know that you can at least offer them a limited plan with OmniFlex. Okay. Then you go down and these other questions, I probably wouldn't use the paper app for anymore. If they got through those knockouts, I'm going to go right back to the eApp, because you're going to see these are the same exact questions you're going to see on that eApp right here: stroke, diabetics, et cetera, with insulin. So I'm going to go back to the eApp. And basically what I tell my client is that I'd say, good, it looks like we can definitely get you some great coverage. So let's move forward. Now you go do the eApp, you open it up, put in their birth date, and then you say, okay, within the last 24 months, have you been diagnosed or received treatment for a stroke? So these are the same exact questions, just broken apart into separate questions as you saw on the application. Are they knockouts? No. If I say yes to one of these, I still can get them a limited plan. These are the secondary questions that we talked about that we did not ask them on the paper app. Okay. So they're asking all these questions. Again, I'll let you read those yourself. And basically those are pretty broad. We throw the net much wider than what you'll see with the other comprehensive short-term care plans out there because of the way this policy is designed. So now we got through that first thing. Now, if you went and did the quick quote, remember where I said you can do a quick quote or a full quote? If you did the quick quote, it skipped that other screen and you went right to here, and it just assumes the person's healthy enough to get the full $400 per day. If I would have answered yes to one of those questions on that previous screen, it wouldn't have been a knockout, right? But it would have come up and this bar would have only went over to $100 instead of $400. That's how intuitive this calculation is. So if I would answer yes to that, it just would have showed a bar graph that only goes over to $100 because that's a limited plan. Easy stuff, right? I take my crossbar and I go over here and I'm working on dad first. I can put it at whatever I want. I'm going to do something random just to screw you up. I'm going to put dad's policy, age 61, at a $290 a day facility. I could put it all the way up to $400 per day. And one of the nice things here, look over here. You can see my monthly premium is going to calculate as I go. So as I put on here, let's make it a full year plan, which is our most popular. So $290 per day for 360 days with 0-day coverage is how much? $74.29. I could make it 20-day coverage and knock it to 66. I'm okay with 20-day coverage. I could do 90 if I wanted to. So all this is here, and the nice part is this changes as you go. So the applicant total is always calculating as you go, so you know where you're at. Okay, that's just the base policy. Let's just do 360 for 20. Then there's my home health care rider, right? I click on it, yes, I don't have to. But if I click on it, yes, it says, what do you want, Tom? Tell you what, it's pretty cheap at $50 per day for a 90-day benefit period, but I probably want to load that up. Most people buy these policies for the home care. So I'm going to put that at $360 or $300 per day for 360 days, first day coverage. What happened to my premium? Look at that. Calculated automatically. I'm still sitting over here at $99.12. So pretty good deal there for those folks. Okay, because this is an Arizona app. Okay, so now I can go down here and put the hospital indemnity on, and let's watch what happens since I got you on the phone. Some people have MA plans. Remember, there's a lot of out-of-pocket expense. You guys know that as well as I do. Some people love to have this little HI plan right here, and watch my premium. It's at $101 now because I did click the hospital indemnity. If I decided I didn't want it, I just click remove rider. I could do that up here at the home care too. Easy stuff. But let's say I'm going to put a $200 a day home health care on here, or excuse me, hospital indemnity on here for 6 days. It jumped up to $10 to $111. So there's $200 for 6 days to help cover their out of pocket if they have an MA plan. You could do whatever you wanted to on here, all the way up to $300 if you wanted to. So you can see how easy this is to work. In this case, I'll keep it simple and remove the rider. Maybe I was just testing the waters and the client said, nah, I don't need to pay the extra 10 for that. I'm okay. So then I remove it and I go right back to where I was. Okay, easy stuff. So now all I've done here, why do I show $99 for dad and only $105 for the combined total? Because so far, all we have for mom is we have her name, Betty Fakey, and 61 years old. So basically what we're seeing here is that for $99, I can get dad insured. For an extra $6, I could get mom a very, 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 very cheap policy. Again, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I don't want you to take advantage of this, but once in a while, we're going to go out and talk to mom and dad, and we're going to say, we should both get you both a policy. And for some reason, it's usually dad who says, I'm going to die for sure. I've got my whole life planned out. There's no way I'm going to need this plan. Betty's going to need it. I'm not. So sometimes you'll get it's usually the dads that don't play nice, that they're going to say, I absolutely don't want it. So what you tell them is, we do have a 10% discount with this plan. So let me just humor me for a second. I'll design a nice plan for, let's pretend this is the female unisex rates. Design a nice plan for Betty for $100 a month. And if we pay $6 more, we can get you the cheapest policy possible, Dad, if you were a 61-year-old, or in this case, it's a female, but it doesn't matter. So if you wanted to, you could say, you know what, if I took off that 10% discount for mom, she's paying an extra $9. You basically get a free little baby policy here. We may as well put you both on. So I'm not saying to abuse that by any stretch, but remember it's there. 10% discount for both of them if they both apply and get it insured. Okay. Most of the time, you're not going to do that. Most of the time, you're going to go out here and you can custom design a plan for Betty, and I can do whatever I want to with it. And then you'll see her premium changes here. Now she's at $20 because I moved her to $230. I could design any type of plan I wanted to for mom if I wanted to get creative. Okay. Most of the time, you don't want to get creative, right? Most of the time, you're saying, I sell the same coverage. So I can go click this button, set coverage, same as applicant, and it's going to automatically duplicate the coverage we had for dad. In this case, since they were both 61 years old, $99 each. So you can see there, 198 total. Easy stuff. Again, I could go in here and tweak this and change it off or add a rider to one of them if I wanted to, no problem. Okay, it's very, very easy to use. Now, at this point, as you're there, if you decide you design a plan that you think they feel comfortable with, then the nicest thing to do at this point is to go right here. By the way, I should go down here and show you. I can change this to annual premiums if I wanted to down here on the right-hand side. Change the effective date if I wanted to. I can do different things here if I'd like to. But mainly what I want to do here is I could remove the spouse, but I can go up here and view the proposal. Okay. Now I'm going to view that proposal, and it's going to show up on my screen right away. And it's basically going to say, I don't even know their names yet. Remember, we didn't even put in dad's name yet. We did put mom's name in there for the spouse. So I'm going to type Jim and Betty in there. And then you'll see down here, this is going to be small on your screen. You won't be able to see it very well, but you can click download. And it does take about a minute to download because of the way it has to go through and create a PDF. It's a little bit slower than I'd like it, but it is available. If I click download, and it'll pop up as a PDF on your screen. Okay, and it would show up on your screen just like that. Okay, but if you want to show it on this one, especially if you're sitting across from your client, you can do it right here and show them on this screen if you'd like. Okay, so I can download it and show it, keep it as a PDF, which I love, and I recommend you do it. Or you can show it right here and say, all right, the nice part about this is it shows, if you guys are familiar with the brochure, or if you go to our site and look at the brochure, it's laid out a lot like the brochure is, right? It shows you, here's your plan design on this day for 61-year-olds in Arizona, I guess I was for this one, Arizona. There's Jim and Betty, $290, 20-day elimination, 360 days. The nice part about this is take the time to show your clients this. When we get into our sales, we talk about the power of saying, look at how strong this policy is. 360 days at 290 is a nice, strong benefit. You've got restoration in there, prescription drugs in there. You guys have some meds that you take. I know that from talking to you earlier. Boy, every med you take, every refill you get from the day this policy goes into effect, you're going to get a $10 rebate on generics or $25 on brand names, up to $300 per year, every year. So each of you will be able to get up to $300 per year. So Jim and Betty, if you're like most 65-year-olds, when 65, people are averaging 27.3 refills and prescriptions a year. So a lot of people will take that full $300 basically as a net premium reducer. So remember to stress that that's there, and remember to stress how easy it is to get reimbursed. Okay. Fast 50, one of the biggest objections you get in these plans. Remember, I'm a little product training now, but one of the biggest objections you get in these plans is what? I can't afford it, number one. And number two is my family's going to take care of me, right? So this is the reason you say, that's why we love this OmniFlex plan. It's the only one out there that's a comprehensive plan that pays a daily benefit for family members, spouse, family, and friends, which are usually exclusions. The GTL product has a nice one-time payment that they'll do, but this one pays the full period of time that you buy for 360 days potentially. Okay, so it waives any elimination period you might have had. Excuse me. It waives any elimination period you might have had, and it pays 50% of whatever daily benefit you're at the time of claim. So again, it pays a lesser benefit, but it pays for the same amount of days. So you get half the overall potential benefit you would have got with indemnity. But the beauty of it is a lot of married couples want mom or dad to help them, or family or friends or church friends, etc. So very flexible. It's a cash benefit that says if you're on claim, we'll send you that monthly benefit. You can switch back and forth. You don't have to lock into it forever. It's a nice, flexible benefit. Built into the plan. Okay. Restoration, again, I could beat you over the head with it. It's a huge deal with short-term care plans. People get these plans. They get to use it for hip replacements, knee replacements, surgeries, fractures, some of these smaller claims. And then after you're healthy again for 180 days, it'll restore back to the full amount of days that you sold them originally. So you can have literally up to 2 times that amount. So theoretically 720 days instead of 360 if you restored fully. So again, don't undercut that because it happens more often than you think with short-term care plans. Monthly premium, $66, easy stuff. Here's the nice thing you want to make sure. Remember, it's never a secret. It's the secret sauce of this plan. It's the reason that this thing really works. And you can take the time to explain it to your client. Say, if I sold you today, the benefit I sold you, $290 in this example, it starts out at half that amount the first day the policy goes into effect. Then it grows by 20% per year until that 5th policy anniversary, and it hits that full 290. And the reason I did that is because this plan does so many nice things with the cash benefit, the prescription drug, and everything else. The premiums are so much lower because it's built this way that, trust me, if you go on claim, I'm selling you this plan now that hoping you never go on claim. But if you do, it'll probably be 5 or 6 or 10 years from now. That's why this policy is so powerful, is that we're planning ahead. If you do go on claim anytime within like the 3rd year plus, this policy still is very, very strong against any competition out there. So it's very powerful. And even if you went on the 1st year, it still gives you 50% of the benefits. So it's still a pretty powerful compared to what you're paying for it. Okay. And then it shows if you put inflation on there, how it would grow after that point or level off. So I just tell people, don't be ashamed of that 5-year ramp up. It's the reason this is going to be the #1 policy in the country, I believe. It's the reason that this thing works as well as it does. It's very, very competitive because of that ramp up if you plan ahead. Okay. Same thing on the home healthcare benefits, by the way, that ramps up as well. So make sure you know that as an agent so you don't mislead anybody. And if I sell a $300 per day plan for these people, you can see $32 a month, $32.75. Again, same thing, same Fast 50, same restoration, everything's the same, even though it only shows on this first page. All of this is included for your rider as well. Okay, so very strong. Finally, your illustration summary page down here shows you that we have this for Jim and Betty. National Independent is just the name of our agency here at GoldenCare. Your name would be up here, your agency name. And then it shows overall, there's your 198. Remember, there is a one-time $25 policy fee that's not included in these numbers. It's just one time and you get commissions on it, but they do have that one-time policy fee, both for mom and dad. Okay. So I've spent a lot of time on that because I like to do product training while we do the illustration to show you how easy it is. But I'm going to get back to that illustration so I can spend the last 5 or 10 minutes showing you how easy it is. Remember, click download, wait for it. Don't click it 8 times and freeze up your computer. Click it once, make sure it was clicked, and then wait for it. And it takes about a minute and it'll pop up in your PowerPoint or in your Adobe. Okay. So if I go back here, it'll go right back to here. Now I'm sitting here waiting. And remember, we haven't finished doing our app process, right? As a matter of fact, we're down here saying begin enrollment. Now, this has taken me a half hour to go through and talk to you guys in the app on the fringes. This is something that you guys can get done with your clients. Think about the little bit of time I spent filling this stuff out. This is super, super fast and super intuitive when you're doing it with a client, okay? So if you can see here, I can go up and I can save this right away, or before I end, I can save it. Doesn't matter when I do it. I can go through here and change some of the benefits I had if I wanted to edit it. But down here is what I want you to see on the right-hand side. See the green? Super intuitive software. So far, again, we haven't even put in Dad's full name. So I'm going to put in Jim Fakey, and I'll skip the middle name. I do need a social security number because they do check the meds using the social, and they check verification for signatures. As you'll see, the signature process is super easy because of this. There's his birth date filled in, his gender. Then they want the address. And again, this is fast stuff that I'm doing. It already knows he's in Phoenix because of the zip code. Then it wants a phone number. And I'm going to fill that in. And again, once I get done with that, I push next. And now what happened? You see where it turned green over here? It shows I didn't skip anything. If I would have skipped a field they absolutely needed, it would have said, hang on, Tom, you got to go back. Okay. So now it's going to say application questions. Okay. And now what are these? Do you have similar insurance? That's just asking if you have duplication or some other policy like that. That's no big deal. If I click yes, it's just going to ask for some information there. Some states require extra forms. No worries there. But now it goes into these knockout questions. This is why I told you to cheat and use the application to start with, because people sometimes get to this stage and then they're like, what do you mean? Now you're telling me I don't qualify because I didn't know you had cancer or something? So that's why I usually say use the app or something to ask these questions ahead of time, because you don't want to get to this stage and then find out somebody doesn't qualify for any coverage. Okay, so that's the one area with Manhattan, because of that double two-tiered underwriting, it gets a little bit wonky. So that's why I would recommend have a paper app or a digital app and ask these questions ahead of time. So if I asked them ahead of time, what I'd say is Jim and Nancy, or Betty, I guess your name is, Jim and Betty, remember I already went through these with you and I asked you all these questions ahead of time. So I'm just going to click no. You're going to get a copy of this and it just shows you that you answered no to all those questions I asked you earlier. Okay. Now, one other thing I do want to make sure you guys as agents know, I'm going through and clicking these, and maybe I'd read them quickly to my client, whoever you feel like they need the help with that once you went through them once. It's up to you. But make sure you know that those are just those knockouts, same exact verbiage as the app. Don't get carried away and click no down here all the way at the end, because at the very end, they throw in a little fastball. Notice they have on these other questions, if you can't read it, it says, if you answer yes, you're not eligible for coverage. But down here, it doesn't say that because they threw in their medications down here. So as an agent, make sure you go and you have to finish this or this won't turn green. But make sure you don't click no too fast, because most of the times you're going to have people who are going to be on meds. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to say mom, whoever I put first, Jim, is on meds. And all you have to do here is type in the names. And if you have a long list separately, you can actually not fill this in. And I'll show you where in the notes section to say I'm going to fax in a list of meds. They'll allow you to do that at Manhattan. But otherwise, if they just have 2 or 3 meds, it's pretty easy to do right here. Excuse my coughing, guys. Sorry about that. The prescribed date, a lot of people forget these things. So Manhattan has been very nice about it, saying, do your best, try to remember when you were prescribed this med, this particular med, but don't lose sleep on it, okay? So if you don't remember it, don't worry about it. You can put, a lot of people just put the first of the month or something if they remember part of it. They're not going to hold it against you because they're going to do a med check in the background and they're going to want to see when it is, but they're going to go by the med check anyways. So the frequency of doses, most people will know that part, right? Just type it in the best you can. The diagnosis, remember this was what I put, metoprolol, so I'll put high blood pressure. And then I'm going to go to the onset date. Again, a lot of people forget this, so don't worry about it if you don't remember what it is. Just type in a date the best you can think of when you were diagnosed with high blood pressure. Okay, so you don't have to lose a lot of sleep on this stuff, okay? So once I do that, I push plus because it says you must do one, and so I had to push plus. There's metoprolol. It can keep going, and I can add as many as I want on this list, or I can fax in a list later. So you want to do it right away, obviously, so you don't slow down the underwriting. So I recommend you do it here and get it over with. But if you have a long list, sometimes you can email it in. Okay. So now look at it, says application questions. I'm doing well. It turned green. Piece of cake. Now, again, I'm spending more time with you than I would with my clients on this because this is really quick, right? I give my consent. A lot of companies want to do everything via email to save on postage, etc. You can do that and put in an email address for your clients, or you can decline it here if you want to, and you can still email them a copy of this if you want. So most of the time I tell them if they like email and they're going to look at it, go ahead and click it and put in email addresses. Okay. Now the dependents down here, notice it's not green yet. And there's a question mark here or an exclamation point saying we don't know enough information about Betty yet. So I'm going to click that and it's going to say what's Betty's social security number. And it's going to say what's the gender. Okay. Then it's going to say update. And now they're happy. Now it shows me that my dependent's okay. All right. So now I go down a little bit further and it says payment information. So it's saying, how do I want to pay for each of these plans? And again, this one's a little bit different now. They just changed this out, but it's pretty easy to do. So EFT monthly, the effective date's here, and there's the date. Okay. So I can put down if I want to change it to annually or semi-annually. There's no premium loads with this plan besides semi-annual. For some reason, there's a load. But otherwise, I could do it annually or not. I can do it EFT or direct billing. So if I'm going to do it EFT, I'm going to put configure. And then it's going to say, what is your bank routing number? Okay. So the bank routing number here in this case is 0910000019. I had that memorized because I've used this before. And it'll verify there's actually a bank at that routing number. Okay, simple stuff. They're going to find this right on their checks, as most of you already know. Is it checking or savings? Then it's going to ask for the account number. You got to put that in. Then it's going to say what day of the month you want to do. Remember, when I changed the effective date to the 15th, it really is easier for confusion's sake for your clients. Trust me on this. If you push out the effective date, try to remember what date it was and put your withdrawal date as the same day. That way you won't have to worry about confusion for your clients, okay? And the bank customer name is just going to say, is this under, Jim or something, whoever's on the account, okay? Then I'm going to push save. And it says, no problem, electronic fund transfer paid by the applicant. And I can either assign that just to that one product that I did, or I can assign it to all the products. So now that's for Jim and Betty, and it's all covered. Easy stuff. And good news, I turned green over here, right? So everything's looking good. The insured applicant beneficiary, again, this isn't a life policy. These are the same questions they ask on life policies. Most of the time, there's no return of premium with this or anything. So if you have unearned premium and somebody dies, then they're going to pay the rest of the premium that the company didn't earn back to the estate. So you can designate a beneficiary and fill in the information, or just leave it at the estate. Most of the time they'll designate the spouse or whatever. Okay. And again, this is just to show you how easy this. Agents love this signature process. Look at over here, a lot of green. We're doing some things right. To do the signature, all I have to do is ask for the mother's maiden name of Jim. Jim, what's your mom's maiden name? It's fakest. And Betty, what was your mom's maiden name? Fake one. Okay. So again, you put in their real maiden names, obviously, but that way nowadays, electronically, the carriers can track that and make that a legitimate signature by just using the maiden names. Okay. So then I get done with that. That's all I had to do with the signature. I didn't have to do a text. I didn't have to do an email. I didn't have to do DocuSign. Very, very simple. It's done. Then I say mail a copy of this policy to either the agent or the insured. Okay, I can click either one, whichever you prefer. If I was putting in those meds, I could put in here and say, will email meds after app. So you can put that in there if you wanted to. Otherwise, if I typed in my meds, I wouldn't have to. But that's where I would type that in. Now I'm down here for the agent selection, and this would be your agent number here if you signed up. This is our agency number, and it'll go down to the agent statement, and it'll read this closely. It says, I, the undersigned agent, also certify that the best of my knowledge, replacement is involved at this time. Notice on the paper application and on most companies, it'll say is or is not. You check a box here. So make sure you know. Don't answer yes out of habit. Just make sure you read it. It said, the underside, I certify the best of my knowledge, replacement is involved. In this case, it's not involved, so I'm going to click no. Okay, so one of those little weird things that you just have to be aware of. Because I logged into this site, all I have to do to sign it as an agent is click that button. All green over here. Everybody's happy. My agent splits. If I wanted to do an agent split, I could go in here and split it with another agent if I had to. But I usually don't have to do that. So I can click on here and say, I'm done. Okay, now I'm going to go over to next, and it's going to show a little summary of what I sold. And I can look at this and say, feeling good about it. I'm going to save it. And when I save it, I can save it as anything I want. So you can find it later. Most of the time, you're going to save it as their client name, maybe their client name and plan design, or their name and premium, whatever you want. So you can save this as anything you want. And that's going to be show up on your list later, and you're going to see it as currently saved anything I want up here. I could save it as something differently if I had to. Okay. Now I'm done. Now at this point, I click submit application, which I'm not going to do here because I don't want OmniFlex Manhattan to start looking at Betty Fakey and seeing if I want a policy. Okay. That's all it takes, you guys. Once I do that, I'm going to get an email back, and it's going to say, congratulations, you've submitted an application, and we'll let you know. Then you can go back into your policy and you can check it on your home screen, et cetera, and you can find out where it's at in the process, et cetera. So work with your marketer on that, or with GoldenCare, and we can help you on that as well. But all that stuff is seen back on your homepage when you go back to the initial actually dashboard. Okay, that's right here. Okay, so you're going to see all that. It's going to ask me to re-enter because I'm going to ARC. But I don't want to go into that today. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to go in and submit an application. And again, I can't stress enough, you guys, before I let you go. Dennis didn't jump on, I take it. So before I let you go, I just want to stress that all this information is on the website. And just as importantly, on that website, you're going to find an agent guide. And if you look at that agent guide, it walks you through a lot of what we just did, right? It shows you the base plan. It shows you how to go through and launch 2.0. See what I mean? It shows you all that stuff. So all that is here. We also recorded this session, so it'll be on the site. Here's the application. You can get an application on our site as well. Here's the brochure. You can get that online. And the medication list, if you get to medications, very liberal compared to the other short-term care plans out there, the comprehensive ones. But they do have a nice little agent guide here if you want to look at the meds. We also have this on our InstaPivot tool. And again, I don't think I opened InstaPivot, and I probably won't today. But InstaPivot, you can put meds in there too and see which policies will take certain meds. So lots of ways to help you. The biggest thing is right here, integritystdc.com. Check that out. Check out the product information. Everything you'd need to know is right here. Okay. That being said, I know I've kept you long enough today. I'm going to go down and see if I can find a finishing screen here. And remind you that the next step is up to you. If you have questions, contact your marketer. We work closely with those marketers, and we can help them answer any questions they may have. If you happen to be one of our integrity partners yourself, contact myself at Tom Randall or Dennis at Tom R at GoldenCare USA or Dennis R, and we can help you out as well. But the main thing is, thank you so much for taking your time today. I appreciate it. I went over my 45 minutes as I usually do, unfortunately for you. But have a happy, safe weekend, and we hope to see you on one of our webinars again soon. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.